this one. All right, Facebook. Yeah, I messed it up. First I had you read, had it turned backwards. YouTube, Facebook. Thank you guys for joining me for the Zen of Renz. We're going to be talking about, this is our second video on Tantra. We did do a video back in October, Tantric 101. This is Tantric 102. So we're still going to be very basic. This one, we're going to do a lot of question and answers. So get your questions ready. Plus do some sharing. I want to share more on Facebook, but I don't know what I'm doing. I can't do it on here. So still learning, still doing some things here. I just pressed the button. I don't know what button I just pressed on Facebook. Oh, share live video. Well, look at there. Hey, Clint, how you doing? Want to get some sharing going on. Just giving people a little bit of chance to get on here. And while we're waiting for people to log on, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things we covered in the... let me take this off for YouTube. We're going to talk about some of the things we covered in the first 101 video. Just to get you guys kind of caught up. We're talking about Tantra, Tantric sex. We also talk about sex magic and how to use your sexual energies to manifest things that you want to have in your life. You definitely want to be able to do this with a partner. You want your partner to be involved. You want them to know exactly what's going on as far as Tantric sex is concerned, sex magic is concerned. But even in Tantric sex, you want people to know, because it's you know, it's not something you want to do without their knowledge. You want them to definitely know what you're doing. I definitely wanted to share this, but I'm having the craziest time trying to share these videos. But anyway, so you want them to know exactly what you're doing when it comes to sex magic and Tantric sex. And Tantric sex is something it's not new. It's not new to any culture. It's not relegated to any one group or one culture. It's something that many people from around the world throughout different ancient cultures have always known about. But one of the things that we deal with as Western cultures have progressed, they've lost that aspect. They've lost that mysticism of it. They've lost that commitment to it. And so what you don't get the same thing. You don't get the same kind of understanding that we had before. I appreciate you sharing that on your Facebook. Yeah, I want to share it on my Facebook and share it on some of the groups that I'm on, but my laptop is going slow. I'm in where I am, we're down like surrounded by trees at the bottom of a hill. Horrible for Wi-Fi, but we're working on fixing that, getting a booster in. So, yeah, so we talk about the fact that, yeah, in the Roman times, it became more vivacious. It became, I don't know if that's the right word, but in the Roman time, it became lewd. In the Greeks, it became lewd. Even in the Egyptians and everybody around the world, at some point, it lost its mystique. It lost its magical aspect. And people started utilizing this for not the correct purposes of manifesting greatness in your life, in your community's life, having, you know, immaculate conceptions. You start losing those things. The connection that you develop with the person is something that is taught in Tantric sex, but it was lost. So tonight we're going to talk about some of those things. All right, we're going to talk about how to get those connections back. We're going to talk about how to create those connections. I'm going to give you some examples. Now, a lot of the stuff tonight that I'm going to be going off of, I'm using two books. These are two of my favorite books. This is Idiot Guy's Tantric Sex. This was one of the first books that I bought this is a book I bought in 2001. It's a good basic understanding, goes through some of the historic part, but it's a good basic understanding. And another book, Dudes, all my guys. This is a book that I've read several times over, that I bought in 2008. It's called The Lowdown on Going Down. There is a version for women to men for, I think it's called Blow Him Away, is the opposite of this one. So this is a good book for learning about oral sex. And here's the thing about learning about oral sex as far as this book is concerned. The aspect of oral sex that this book is concerned is the fact that it teaches how it teaches you the parts of the body, right? It teaches you the parts of the body. It teaches you how to um, what the clitoris is and how to stimulate it. It teaches you about the different lips. You know, there are four lips or two pair of lips on a woman's yoni, and it teaches you about each one of those lips, how to massage them, how to touch them, deal with them. It teaches you about the different erogenous zones of the woman, as far as the clitoral, the hood, the lips, the G spot, the the cervical G spot, all these different things. It teaches you these. This book is good for understanding the anatomy, how to stimulate the woman, because in tantric sex, you have to stimulate the person into states of orgasms, also stimulate them into an up and down in dealing with orgasms as well, so that you can manifest stronger energy and create stronger connections. There are also this one talks about different exercises and meditations that you can participate in as well in order to get yourself situated. Now, I will say this: I am looking at putting together some seminars, live seminars, putting together some retreats where we learn and develop and teach tantric sex to couples. Doesn't matter at what stage of development. I'm not going to say, oh, you got to have a marriage license, that sort of thing, because, you know, that's you. You decide. As long as you're a loving couple that's committed to one another, that's all I really care about. So we will have some seminars. We will have some retreats where couples can come and we can do, I don't want to say hands-on, meaning that I'm putting hands on. I'm not putting hands on, but hands-on where people can gather, where they can do it. And like, I can show you how to do what's called a heart hold. Let me give you an example. Well, this isn't a heart hold, but this is a circulating breath exercise. I want you to see the diagram on that one. You see the diagram? Let me get a little closer. See, when you're a couple practicing Tantra, is taking the time to sit in these positions, understanding how to share and circulate the breath, and how to meditate, the different mindsets to have, the mental stimulation that you should have with one another. But by sitting in that position, circulating your breath, right, you're centering on your second chakra, you know, that's your sex chakra, your sacral chakra, and you're rotating that breath up and you're sharing each other's breath. Now, that's sharing the essence of the individual, sharing the essence of who you are. You know, without breath, we don't survive, we don't live, we die without breath. So you're sharing that, and you're sharing it through that sacral chakra, which creates a deeper connection between you and your mate, right? So for you to be able to understand that, and if you see, it's pinpointing that second chakra and wrapping around to the crown chakra. I read a lot, but even there's another one on the other side of the page. Even when you're just lying in the bed, and just talking to one another and sharing each other's breath. You know, make sure you didn't have any garlic fries the day before, but or a few minutes before, but you're sharing each other's breath in your conversation, right? Maybe, and for some people, like let's say your love language, your spouse's love language, the woman you're with, their love, or the man you're with, his love language is words of affirmation, right? Through this breath, you can share these words of affirmation with one another to be able to stimulate the connections, to stimulate the deeper connection by speaking with the breath, circulating words of affirmation to one another. See, when you do that, now those words of affirmation are they have more power now. They have more power to that you're giving to the other person, that you're now manifesting in your relationship. And that's what we want to have. We want to have deeper, more committed relationships. So by sharing that breath, backing it up with the vibration of words of affirmation, and if we understand spelling, by utilizing those words, you're in essence casting spells of energetic love towards one another by speaking it. Simply put, speaking into existence. But that's exactly what you're doing. These are things that couples, we would want, I would love for couples to develop more of, because the more you develop this and you take this time to do it, and that's an important thing, is taking the time to do it, but the more you take the time to do it, then the deeper your connections begin, And then one of the things about developing deeper connections is that many people need to be healed, that they're suffering, that they haven't they've been through situations where people have hurt them, and because they're hurt, they don't necessarily know how to open up to the next person. So by going through these processes, you'll develop a trust with one another, so that you can express those things. You know, you want your mate to be more open with you. You want them to be more sexually open with you. You want them to be more sexually into you. Then you have to develop trust. And that trust comes from participating in certain activities. There's a bathing ritual. Tell you, I love this book. So, like, this book has a picture. I love pictures. We learn by pictures of a bathing ritual. Now, I want to ask the question: when's the last time you took the time to bathe one another? When's the last time you did that? When's the last time you did it and you set up candles, you set up flower petals, you put the oils in the water, and you took the time to bathe one another? You ain't even bathing to get clean. This is like, you can take a shower and then set the tub up so that you can have a moment. And there's a I don't want to say it's a Tao. It's not a Tao. It's a Buddhist priest, Buddhist monk, who, no, it's Buddha actually. He talked about, no, the Dalai Lama. Thank you. Yes, the Dalai Lama in my brain. I'm thinking to my brain, right? The Dalai Lama said some time ago that we spend so much time working hard and making money, losing our health, so that we can then take the money we've made to try to regain our health. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword there. You know, we're working so hard to get money, but then the hard work we do to get the money, we spend to try to get back our health, because we lost our health getting the money. We work so hard to get a relationship and to build houses and cars and all these things around the relationship, but then we don't. Then we want, once we get it, then we want to try to rebuild the relationship. Or once we've gotten older, we want to try to rebuild the relationship. But you could have built the relationship earlier. You could have taken this opportunity to take these baths with one another, to develop this trust with one another. So when we start taking the time and to put the energy in, put the effort in, we can develop these type situations. And in that bathing, that physical touch is vital. You're touching the person, you're communicating, you're spending time with them, sharing energy, and you're in the water. Now, I don't want anybody to try this, but put some water in a tub. Put your hand in it. Allow the energy of electricity to go through that water and shock shit out of you, right? But the thing about it is, put the water, the purpose of that statement was the fact that water it conducts current. It conducts energy. Energy moves through water very easily, right? So when you're bathing, you're taking that time to bathe with one another. You're bathing in a water that's conducive to moving your energy, moving energy from one person to the other person, sharing energy. So utilizing water, bathing, is very important. I know some people just shower, but taking the bath is very important, because when you do that, you're developing a deeper connection and you're sharing more energy with one another. And there are so many different other meditations that you can do together. Whether you're listening to certain beats, you can do that. Now, if you guys saw the other video that I did a month or so ago, we talked about a heart hold, right? I described the heart hold, but I wanted to show you guys a picture of what a heart hold looked like. So this is what the heart hold position looks like. You see they're sitting in the Yab Yum position. Even though he has his knee up, you don't necessarily have to have your knee up, but he's sitting there in that position. And then by doing so, her hand is on his heart, his hand is covering her hand, and vice versa. By sitting in this position, breathing with one another, meditating, focusing in on a predetermined idea of what kind of love message you want to send to one another, what type of manifestations you want to have, what type of sharing of intimacy you want to have, you then start to You meditate on that. You spend the time to meditate and think about that. You can, in this position, you can speak these words. The reason why you're holding the heart is because you're sharing heart energy, right? I don't know if you guys saw the Black Panther movie, but Nakia, who was representing the heart, she always wore green, right? She was wearing green most of the time in the movies because she representing heart energy. So you want to share your heart energy, right, with one another, and that's the purpose of this sitting position. This position is designed for you to share heart energy with one another. Um, you can you can eye gaze, you can stare in each other's eyes during this time frame, or you can speak words of affirmation, or you can speak on how you speak in the present of how you want your relationship to be. You desire your relationship to be. You speak it into the in present, regardless if it's that way or not. You speak it that way while holding each other's heart with all the sincerity and love that you have, right? And by doing that, you draw closer to one another again. And if you notice, the biggest thing about Tantra is drawing closer, drawing more intimate, drawing more conscious, more energy towards each other, combining, becoming one. Does not every culture, religion, society, the way that they really talk about marriage is the drawing closer of becoming one with one another. It's representing the on this matter plane, the male and the female coming as one, whereas energetically inside each one of us there is a male female energy that draws as one. And by drawing that as one internally and then sharing that with another person who has become one, now we are creating a true divine connection. This is not just about what we are on the matter plane. This is about what we are on the energetic plane, the spiritual plane. So we want to be able to do this. Now, I definitely want you guys to ask questions tonight. If you have any questions, no question is, I won't say no questions off limit, but no question is too crazy. I want to say that. But I do want to take some time to, while you guys are thinking of your questions, to talk about healing a woman through oral yoni contact. Okay? So, it has been my experience and it has been my understanding that if I had to put a number on it, I would say 1 in 3 women that I've met, and maybe even higher, but 1 in 3 that I've ever met in my life have experienced some type of sexual molestation. And because of that, many of them retreat. If they haven't received some type of sexual molestation, then they have been conditioned to have a negative thought process on sex, right? And so they retreat. A lot of guys don't care to take a woman through the process or to help her to feel safe and secure and develop a better understanding of intimacy, that she is built as a sexual creature, a sexual being who deserves to be released from this prison of having to not being able to explore her sexuality and truly come into the fullness of it, that she doesn't have to hold back. Western culture has taught a woman that she should be holding back, that she shouldn't allow herself to be completely free sexually. But there are a couple of techniques. There's one in particular that I want guys to, or depending on your orientation, women as well, to come into an understanding of. It's a simple thing that you can do to help to allow your woman to feel comfortable and secure. Okay? Now, there's one I want to tell you that's a basic, this is just a basic covering. It's designed as an exercise for you to do with your mate, but if it's not an you can do this with clothes on, you can do this with clothes off. It doesn't really matter. I prefer that you do it without any clothes on, simply because I'm delaying. Simply because that skin to skin contact is vital, right? It's very vital that you have skin to skin contact in doing this, so that she will feel your presence. And I had it. Okay, I know I had it. All right, so I want you guys to see this picture. You see how the man or the person who's providing covering, she's on her knees and he is covering her, right? You see him providing that cover? He's providing that cover, his heart to where her heart is on her back, but he's providing the cover for her. So if she's been, this teaches subconsciously, this teaches in her subconscious that he's going to take care of her. He's not there to abuse her, but he's there to take care of her. Many people who have been abused need to be reinforced that somebody's trying to take care of her. So you want to cover her. And notice she's almost like she's like in a kneeling fetal position, because it takes you back to the womb where you felt the most safe. So he's covering her. So you want to cover her. Speak into her. Speak into the person. Now, if it's a man who has been through sexual molestation, has sexual, felt like that he can't be expressive in his sexuality and needs that kind of covering, there's no shame in that. There's no shame in it. The woman can do the man as well. She can cover. Sorry, YouTube. People know that I do this podcast on Tuesday, but yet they still want to call my phone. And I know if I turn on airplane, they still call. It won't do the live chat, so I got to get some better Wi-Fi. Anyway, that's neither here nor there right now. So that's one thing, is to be able to cover the person like that. So you want to provide that covering, okay, over the person. Now another thing, now this is the oral one. This is the one, I think I lost my YouTube audience for a second here. Sorry, YouTube audience. I'm sure they're going to come back because my phone rang. And I think it dropped everybody. But, so here, I got to keep going though. So the, most guys, most of the time, when you're performing oral on a woman, most people, when they perform oral on a woman, they don't take into consideration of making her feel secure in her heart. Mentally, you're thinking about just pleasing her, right? And you want to think beyond just pleasing her orally. You want to think about, how can I secure her? How can I make sure that she feels the connection? How can I make sure that she feels connected to me, right? So when you're performing oral, right, it's very simple. 2 simple things that you can do to make sure that she feels connected to you, and that you are moving her energy into her heart, her sexual energy into her heart. And so you got to remember, your throat chakra is in your mouth. So when you're performing oral, you're communicating to the person. You're communicating, you're sending that vibration, that energy to the person through her yoni, right? So when you're doing this, what I want you to do is, I want you to take your right hand and reach up. Let me show you the diagram. Take your right hand. We're looking at this one. Take your right hand, reach up and hold her hand. Take your left hand, which is closest to your heart, and move it up her belly to her heart, to the center of her chest. All right? So, and you move it in waves. So you're holding, let me show you again, just to make sure you see it. You're holding with the right hand, and then with the left hand, you move from the mound up to her chest, to her heart, and then bring it back down. Now, if you can do it, if you're sized right, you can move your hand, so if you're here, your hand is on the mound, right? You can open your fingers and go down her yoni and massage the lips with these fingers, if you can fit it. But then move your hand back up through her heart, try to catch her breath and bring it back down and go back up. And just moving your hand back and forth at least from the mound up through to her heart, bringing your hand back and forth from the mound to her heart as you stimulate her yoni with your tongue. And that part of your tongue, not the tip. And on the clitoris, So as you do that, right? You're securing her in your activity. You're giving her pleasure, but you're stimulating her sexual energy while at the same time you're giving her the security of your right hand, and you're giving her the connection of heart energy with your left hand as you're moving it back and forth up through her heart, from the mound up to her heart and back. All right. This is going to move that energy back and forth in her. This is going to also give her that security that she can be okay. She may not fully be okay or release the first time. And I don't mean have an orgasm. She still may have the orgasm, but what I'm saying is that her emotions may not fully release. Her openness to you may not fully release the first time. So this may be something that you have to repeat, like 6 months, 6 months, 10 months, 12 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, and you're still doing it. And it's not something that, even if she's never suffered anything negative, it's something that you could possibly, that there's nothing wrong with you doing it over a long period of time. It's something that you can do, period. It's just to create a deeper connection with your mate. It's just something that you can just keep doing, and you should just do it. This is just a natural thing to do. Now, here's a warning. Here's something I always like to say. Do not do this with some person who is just somebody to be with, right? These kinds of connections you don't want to commit. You don't want to do with somebody who's just somebody to be with. These are things that you want to do with somebody that you are actually wanting to develop a commitment towards. I've made the mistake of doing certain things like that to people who we weren't going to be together, and it does create a connection, and it's incredibly difficult to break it. It's very difficult to break it. It's very difficult for them to break it, for them to get past it. It's very difficult for you to get past it, because when you're doing that, when you're moving her heart energy from her mound up to her heart, and you're bringing that heart energy back to her mouth, you're bringing it. It's coming to you too. All right, it's coming into your throat chakra, right? So it's coming into where you create. It's coming into where you communicate. So it's becoming a part of you as well. So you have to realize that you're not just, I'm just putting this on her. No, you're putting something on you too. So you have to be mindful of the energy that you're transferring, because this also energy that you're transferring and giving to yourself. Okay, so I'm giving you guys a lot more practical app in this video than the last one, simply because it was requested. In my sexual alchemy video, people requested more practical app. Now, not to leave my fellas undone. So a woman can do the covering for a guy, right? Right? So a woman can do the covering. But after she does but there's another exercise, there's another lingam exercise or process or meditation, whichever term you want to use, that you can use for the woman can use for the man. Every time is not always about just, penetration, right? This is where Tantra takes time, right? It takes time. Now, most men aren't comfortable allowing themselves to be vulnerable to their woman. But there is a practice, there's a meditation that a woman can do, a process she can do to help him become more comfortable, to become more open, right? To being able to express his emotions to her and feeling safe and secure, knowing that you still the man ego. You need to release the ego, but you can still do this without giving up your manhood, your leadership role, or whatever you want to call it. And it's a heart lingam masturbation, right? It's a heart lingam masturbation. Okay. And what it is, again, I love the diagrams, is if you can see, with him laying on his back, she's putting her left hand on his heart and moving his heart energy in the same way, and then as her right hand strokes his lingam. Okay? Ladies, use some lubrication, please. Use some lubrication. Please use some lubrication. But as you as she strokes with her hand and gaze, and notice she's eye gazing with him. See how she's eye gazing, right? So she's looking into his left eye. She's eye gazing. So you want to eye gaze, be attentive, showing him that it's okay for you to be vulnerable. It's okay for me to take care of you. It's okay. And then she's got the left hand on the heart. It's okay to share this energy. And she would move her hand up and down from his heart down to the base, and then back up to the heart. And she would consistently move that energy back and forth as she also strokes his lingam, right? Now, you don't want to bring him to orgasm. If he does start getting to the point where he's starting, and you can tell by the hand that, you know, the penis begins to become engorged, the lingam gets engorged, and you feel that he's about to get there, then you want to slow down. You don't want to go ahead and have that. You want to go 80%, bring it back down. The man, you want to go 80% and bring it back down, because you want to allow this energy to continue to rotate for a while. You don't want to give up the energy too quick. You don't want to give up the energy. You don't want to give up the connection. You don't want to give up the emotion too quick. You want this process. This needs to be a 15-20 minute process that you're going through, right? So you want to feel that. You want to feel that energy and that movement, right? You want to feel the heart energy going up and down. You want to get in sync with his breath. And gentlemen, you can use this time frame also to work on being able to control the ejaculation. If you saw the previous video, you know, I talked about the fact that the ejaculation and the orgasm are two separate things. So you want to be able to control the ejaculation by understanding how to squeeze and breathe your way through the 80%. When you get to that 80%, and then you want to breathe and take yourself back down to about 60% while she's giving you that eye contact, that connection. So I'm gonna show you guys this one picture one more time, so you can see the right hand stroking, the left hand moving up and down from the heart to the base, and she's eye gazing him, ensuring that he understands that he's safe, that he's secure, that he can be emotional, that he can allow himself to be vulnerable in front of her, with her, and that he can share his vulnerability and his emotions with her. So that's one. That's especially if you had a guy who has been told a whole bunch of crap about what it is to be a man and what it is to be sexual, and he's just completely Western consciousness when it comes to that. So it's completely fine. Now, if you don't have a lady, if you don't have a woman, both men and women can do this on their own. You can utilize your own hands to do it to yourself and develop your own strength, your own ability to maintain that position, to maintain your security and move your own heart energy. Now, there's another one that you can do where you do it together, okay? So he's doing him, she's doing her, but his right hand is on her heart and her right hand is on his heart, right? While he masturbates and she masturbates, but they're sitting, you know, with amongst each other so they can share the energy, right? And so now they're sharing it as they heal themselves from whatever misteachings, misunderstandings, molestations, rapes, whatever has ever happened in their life. They're able to share the reconnection of security within each other to ensure that they develop into secure sexual beings. They're not, and when you're a more secure sexual being, you're not doing it out of lust. You cease to do it out of lust. You cease to do it out of your own, you know, self-centeredness. And you still like it. You still want to do it because you just like it, because it's a great feeling. But now you're doing it also because you're connected and you're sharing energy with one another. So now it's something that's, you know, on a higher mental and spiritual plane for both of you. And it's not just something that you saw in the movie and now you're just trying to do it in a movie to make sure, right? Now, one of the other things that we talked about and y'all not asking me questions, so this is gonna be a short one tonight. Y'all don't ask many questions. One of the things that we talked about, and the other one is sex magic, right? Now, I like this picture. I like pictures because what they're showing you is that the couple is embraced, intertwined with one another. They're through their kissing. Now, they may have already determined whatever the dream is That's all that represents is the dream. They may have determined whatever the dream is, and as they determine the dream, and they're kissing, and you're rubbing and kissing, and you're doing all these things, you're determining what your focus, your energy, your mindset is focused on taking that sexual energy and transmuting it into thoughts of um, business, thoughts of life, thoughts of a new house, thoughts of vacation, thoughts of a lifestyle that you guys want to live, thoughts of a physical ailment that's healing. You want to heal a portion of your body or ailment. You're thinking of these things in the act, and you've already predetermined it. And even when you come to the point of orgasm, your yes, 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 yes is going out to that dream, that thought, that process. If it's a business, you're yes, yes, yes to the business. If it's spending more time with each other, it's yes, yes, yes to that spending time. If it's a healing, it's yes, yes, yes to that healing. The excitement and the exhilaration and the sexual energy that's charged up from the coming into the orgasm is a yes, yes, yes to whatever that sexual magic is. And that's one, that was a question from the last video of how do you get that in. If both people have to be in there with two or three of the same mindset. You see that in a business. You see when a business has two or three people who have the same mindset, and they're definite in that purpose. Those people are they serious business. They're going to get it done. There's nothing that can distract them, take them away from it, because they have the same vision. And all you're doing is using your sexual energy, which it's at a pure state at that point. It's pure and it's strong, to have the same vision, to invoke the physical and mental and energetic intention into that same vision. And you will notice that everything in life, nature, energetic, starts to move in that direction. Your mindset changes, right? It could be something as simple as we want to stop procrastinating, right? Your mindset begins to change because your brain, right? I don't know, you haven't missed, you might have to go back and there's a lot you have to go back and listen to, Annie. But your mindset has changed, and now since your mindset's changed, you start doing different because your subconscious doesn't know the difference. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what you're speaking as reality and what you're speaking as a dream. It doesn't know whether it's real. It's there, right? So your third eye vision, that third eye chakra, the visions it starts having now, the vision is the concepts that it envisioned, the dreams you start having. Your brain doesn't know the difference because you've now taken that sexual energy and transmuted it from your sacral chakra up into your third eye. So now when it reaches you, when it does that 90-degree turn and reaches your crown chakra and goes out into the universe, the universe doesn't know the difference. It's just going to be that. That's all it knows. Does it involve chakras? Yes. Chakras are very, very, very important and vital to your understanding of Tantra, because with your chakras blocked, it doesn't happen, right? How does touch enhance this before, doing, and after? Enhance the sex magic or enhance what? Give me a little bit more specific, Carl. And while you're being specific, let me answer more to the chakra. Let's talk more about the chakra situation. When you talk about chakras in Tantra, chakras are very vital because Tantra involves the movement of energy. And since chakras are your portals of energy that are in your body, and from the first video, we talked about the fact that you have 7 main chakras. And those 7 main chakras are your root chakra, your sacral chakra, your solar plex chakra, I'm gonna get to you, Carl. Your solar plex chakra, and you just lost me. Your heart chakra, your throat chakra, your third eye, and then your crown chakra. All right. I know they got their Indian names, but I'm not Indian, so I'm not calling them that. But the thing about it is that each one of these chakras can be blocked. Now, if you're trying to, and actually I'm going to answer both questions here. If you're working through sexual magic and your chakras are blocked, you're committing yourself to Tantra, to developing that connected relationship, but your chakras are blocked, then you're not going to be able to truly facilitate your sex magic nor your connections, right? Previously, we was just talking about how, yes, and so just to give you a quick one on there, how does touch enhance this before, during, and after? The physical touch moves energy. Your skin is a huge organism. It's the largest organism on your body, or not organism, it's the largest it's the largest something of your whole body. I forgot the term that I'm trying to look for here. But with your skin, you're moving energy. You're also sending sensation. Nerves in are firing, letting you know where you are and what you're touching. So by touching, you're moving this energy to different parts of the body. If you think about when I was saying if you're giving her oral and you are moving your left hand up to her heart, back down to her mouth, you're moving that energy. So if you're practicing sex magic through that healing process of moving that energy, right, then that touch helps to guide her breath and her energy flow. And as long as that touch is guiding and moving that energy flow, then when she comes to that point of orgasm and the yes, yes is going on, determining what it is that you're trying to manifest, your touch has helped to move that before, during, and after. And even after, to continue to solidify the sex magic that you just performed. Your touch continues to do that. It continues to move that energy because the energy reverberates. It keeps reverberating. And when we look at it from the Egyptian standpoint, it unks around. Remember, we talked about that last time, how it hits the heart and then unks around the crown and back into the heart so that the energy continues to reverberate and builds up and is stronger, right? So, but if you're blocked, see, this is why that exercise of performing oral while holding her hand, her right hand, and moving that energy up to her heart and back and forth is a securing, is letting her know that you are taking care of her, that she doesn't have to fear anything, is because her root chakra can be blocked by fear, which is another reason why there's a oral exercise where a finger is in, do it this way, one finger is in her vagina, this finger in her vagina, this one is in her anus while you're licking on the hood or on her clitoris, right? It helps to, when she starts feeling secure, it helps to break down her fear. It helps her to not be sexually fearful. If she's not sexually fearful anymore, then you're breaking the bonds of the root chakra that is blocked by fear, right? So for a woman to start to become open to that, then the fear, it starts to break down that fear. And when the fear is gone, now her root chakra, which represents foundation and security, now she's feeling more secure because she trusts you, she trusts the relationship, she trusts the foundation you're building. And so her root chakra now begins to open her sac. And then as you're doing these exercises, when you're moving that heart energy back into her mound, you're moving it back into her sacral chakra, right? And that sacral chakra is blocked by guilt. Shame, sorry. So it's blocked by that shame. So whatever shame she's felt, many women or men and women, if they've been molested, if they've been treated poorly, or if they've been mentally conditioned to think that sex is not a good thing, then they carry so much shame in their yoni, in his ligam. So when the woman is doing the ligam massage and holding the man's heart and eye gazing, that shame is being held in his ligam, in his penis, so that the stroking of it, the moving of his heart energy, and the eye gazing helps him to not be ashamed anymore, to lose that feeling. So that sacral chakra opens, and now as it opens, it allows the energy to flow, and that's what we have to do. So I'm not going to go through each chakra, but of course, the solar power chakra is blocked by guilt. All right, by guilt, things you feel guilty for, that you made a mistake, get over it. Help to get over the mistakes. Your heart chakra, the loss of love and not being open to new love. Your throat chakra is blocked by the lies that you tell yourself. So your communication and the lies that other people have said about you that you believe. And then your third eye is blocked by the feeling that you're not attached. And see, if you think about it, all of that is about attaching, creating that connection. That's creating that connection that says we're one, that we're in unison with one another. And then your crown chakra is blocked by your earthly attachments, right? So when your crown chakra gets blocked by your earthly attachment, that changes it. This is interesting. This says that I can bring somebody on. Let's try this. I'm going to invite this young lady whose name I cannot pronounce on here if I can figure it out. This is only on Facebook though. All right, so there's a way on Facebook Live that you can bring somebody in on the conversation. Ooh. And maybe I messed it up by trying to do it. He said, what if she's not into oral? Annie said, what if she's not into oral? Is there another way? If she's not into oral, you can do this with your hands as well. All right. So what I mean by that one is, actually that one was, I think there's a picture for that one as well. But you can do it with your hands. You know, I don't just want to just say fingering. But here's one diagram that you might have missed, Anne, where both the people are masturbating, sharing that masturbation with each other. And because they're sharing that masturbation with each other and they're holding the heart energy, they're circulating the breath, right? So that's one way of doing it. And if right above the oral is this method, which he's got his hand, he's using his hand to give her a yoni massage or an interior, yoni massage, while he's breathing his breath in her heart and he's supporting her back, the arch of her back on the back side of her heart with his hand. So that's another way that you can do it other than utilizing. But he still needs to breathe along her heart because he's transferring his communication, his creativity, his communication to her heart, that she's safe, she's secure, that, I'm not here to hurt you, right? He's massaging her yoni to, or even using his fingers to stimulate her G-spot in her hood so that the pleasure is there, right? And showing that it's pleasurable, and also stimulating her from being fearful and from feeling guilt, from feeling shame, and then supporting her with his left hand to give her support from, because we also have after our 7 main chakras, the next 2 are in your hands, in the palm of your hand. So he's supporting her that way. So that's another way of doing it. Other ways that we talked about earlier is bathing her. There are massages that you can provide, that you can do. There's a hold a where's that other one? There's also this cradle, right? There's also the couple cradle that I was talking about earlier. You can cradle her, where you cradle over top of her as she's in kind of a fetal position, and you cradle her, whispering or speaking words of affirmation into her, right? But, of course, this couple got clothes on. It's better done if you don't have clothes on. That way, you get the skin connection. That skin connection is very vital because it transfers the energy. I don't know, Rayshinda was watching and this camera thing came up, and I just want to see if we can do it because I've never done that before. I don't know if she said. Oh, it said no answer. That would be interesting. If anybody on Facebook, I know we can't do it on YouTube, want to join in, I just want to see if we can do it personally. So we'll try that. So if somebody want to dial in, that's cool. But anyway, so you guys got any other questions? I know we're coming up on an hour. We got like 12 minutes before we hit that 1 hour mark. There is something I wanted to show people. Another one. We have to, gentlemen especially, I don't think many lesbians will have this issue, but us gentlemen, we need to come to an understanding. We need to know what this is. We need to know every part of the yoni. Right? Most guys that I speak to have no idea about the facets of the yoni. I asked the guy some months ago, how many lips does a woman have? And he said just 2. And I said, name them. And he was like, just the 2, these 2. And I was like, okay, you sure she don't have any other lips? And he was like, okay, yeah, she got 2 more down there. And I said, you sure she don't have some more? And he was like, okay, where are the other ones? And I told him, there's 2 more down there, right? So there's an inner and an outer labia, right? So you got 2, inner and outer labia. Guys need to understand that, and both desire and need attention and massaging, right? You have the hood, you got the clitoris, you got the pubic mound, and the vaginal open, and the perineum. I can never say the word preum, that area in between the anus and the um, and her vaginal opening, perineum. It's a good thing I'm not a doctor because I would be like flubbing that word every time. But we have to understand that, and also understand where a woman's urethra is, because many women have female ejaculation. Well, I ain't gonna say many, but women have female ejaculation. They can have female ejaculation. They can what commonly called as squirting, and you cannot get disgusted or crazy because a woman does. It's a natural thing, right? But it's not peeing. Peeing comes from the urethra, all right? It doesn't come through the vaginal opening. The vaginal opening fluid that comes out of there is her female ejaculation. So it's not something that you should be like, oh, she's peeing on me. She's not, unless you're into that. Now, if you're into that, that's on you. I ain't got no problem. No judgment here. Do what do what you do. But guys, we got to learn. We have to learn more about the vajayjay, as they say, because our understanding of that helps us to better stimulate the woman. It's like I said in the last video that we did in October about this. When your woman is, if you want your woman to truly have a massive orgasm, the true orgasm, true deep orgasm, you can't just go straight in at the G spot. You can't just go straight in at the cervical G spot, right? There's a cervical G spot. There's another G spot right up there, right before you get to the cervix, right? And you have to understand your angle and her body angle in order to get to it. But the thing about it is, you first have to stimulate the clitoris. You have to go through all three gates. Stimulate the clitoris, then you stimulate the G spot, which is right inside, and then you finally get to the utilizing your penis, you can get to the cervical G spot. So we should understand each one of those. And just to show you, this is a diagram that shows you pretty much where the G spot is. So we know we got the clitoris, then we got the G spot there, and then there's a cervical G spot that's deeper. Let me show you this one. So when you go all the way up, you see where the cervix is. It's right, it's a little mounded area right forward, like up, right before the cervix, that little area there. So depending upon your curve and how she's laying or sitting, whatever, it's going to determine whether or not you're able to hit it. Carl says, what other books are good reading? There. This is a big book to read. It's a lot of information. But the Tao of Sexology. If you've read a Tantric book, right? And if you've read books specifically like this book, The Lowdown on Going Down, or For a Woman, Blow Him Away, or I ain't gonna say a woman, for somebody who wants to perform warrior on a man, Blow Him Away. And if you read a basic book on Tantra, the next basic book, which is but a long book, is The Tao of Sexology. There are a ton of exercises in there that you would do, a ton of meditations. I think the book, I don't even know how many pages it is, but it's long. It's a long book and it's a big read. You can actually download that one for free online if you wanted to. I don't like reading books online. I need it in my hand, right? But that's another good book, The Tao of Sexology. And there's a lot of good exercise in there for a man to be able to last longer, and also for strengthening the erection. There are exercises like, there's one, like, let's say this is a penis, right? Where you use a certain breathing technique and you stroke it on the right side, right? And then you stroke it on the left side a certain number of times. Then you stroke it off the top, and then you stroke it from underneath. And there's breathing, certain way to breathe while you're doing it, and it helps to stimulate strength in your erection. And it's an exercise that you should be doing daily. There's an exercise in there called deering. You want to do that one. Helps you to strengthen your erection, but also it helps you to control your ejaculation so that you don't ejaculate, but you can have the internal orgasm at the same, without losing the ejaculation. That way you can last long enough for her to have her cervical orgasm, right? Because if you want to participate, since you had asked about sex magic, Carl, if you want to participate in sex magic, you need to be able to last to the point where she has an orgasm And especially if you can have it at the same time, because when it's had at the same time, then that is both of your energies joined together going out. So um, but the Tao of Sexology will be the other book that I would recommend. To be honest, there's after you read a good basic book on Tantra, right? A good book on oral stimulation, the Tao of Sexology. You read and master those books, you're good. You're good. You're gonna, and then just continue to meditate and get better at your meditations, get better at your breathing, and just practice those. Don't get caught up into I've read 50 books on it. Because when you've read 50 books on it, then you haven't been practicing it. Because you can't practice 50 books, right? 2, 3, 4 good books, practice that. Practice that. All right? As long as it's good books, all right? Like when I read the Tao Te Ching, there are 14,000 translations of it. I found like 4 good translations, and that's all I read on those 4 good translations of it. I don't speak Mandarin, so I can't read the original text, but I read those 4 good translations because I'm not trying to inundate myself with too much, right? Because then you become confused. So the Tao of Sexology, a good basic book on Tantra, a good basic book on oral sex, and practice that. Learn how to meditate. Maybe you get a good book on meditating. Learn how to meditate, better. Start, watch videos and do yoga so that your flexibility gets better, right? And your breathing gets better and your health gets better. Be conscious of what you eat, right? You're conscious of what you eat, eating good food, eating fruits and vegetables, getting enough water in your, make sure that you're drinking enough water, and you'll see that this will start to change your life, right? And this is not a quick fix. This is not a quick fix. So don't think that you're going to go out there and everything's going to be fixed real fast. It takes time. It takes time. So just take your time, work on it, get better at it, right? Just get better. We're coming down. We got 2.5 minutes left. Any questions? It's a 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning, coach. Going down. Got the hurry up offense out on the field. Got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. What you got? Any more questions before we call this one today and wait for next Tuesday and see what kind of conversation we have then? All right? Because I do want you guys to ask me more questions, specific questions. I will start spending a lot more time talking about relationships, talking about finances, and talking about sex. And spirituality, but I have more interest in those. I think more people are struggling in those areas more so than any other areas. So there will be more conversations concerning those subjects. So finances, relationships, sex, spirituality, but your own individual spirituality. I'm really over the arguing thing. I'm really over that. So just, like I was talking this morning, and it just takes too much energy, right? It's too much wasted energy fighting against the negativity of the darkness, right? Well, I'm not going to fight that negativity of the darkness, and I'd rather spend my time, standing in the sun. So we're going to stand in the sun and develop great relationships. We're going to stand in the sun and develop our finances. We're going to stand in the sun and develop our own personal spirituality. And a spirituality that we don't measure against other people, nor do we need other people to agree with us in order for us to have it. But it's something that's just personal for us. Whatever it is ours. Because it's recognizing that divinity within you, right? And if people disagree, then they have other places and other people and other teachers and other gurus and whomever else is that they can go to. But for us, of like mind, we want to build. We want to build within ourselves. Right? We want to build with like-minded people. Iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel, whatever you want to call it. We want to keep doing that. That's right. Everybody loves the sunshine. Everybody loves sunshine. Now, I love the darkness. I love the darkness that I like. I don't like the darkness other people have for me, but I love the darkness I like. All right? Because in darkness, we can find our light. But it's been great, guys. Down to my last 4 seconds. And I look forward to working with you guys in the future. I do want to say that if those who support me on my Patreon, I appreciate you guys supporting me on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Coach Renz. Only $5 a month if anybody wants to support me there. For those who already do, I really appreciate you guys greatly. And for those who are interested in my coaching programs, just go to CoachRenz.com. That's Coach RENZ.com. And we have different programs there. And like I said, I will, sometime this year, we're going to have two different things happen. We're going to have a seminar on tantric sex and sexual alchemy and sex magic. And we're also going to have a retreat. It may be small, it may be big, I don't know. But we're going to have a retreat as well. And I ain't going to be selfish. The retreat's going to be here in Atlanta because that's where I am. So we're going to have a seminar, we're going to have a retreat. So we're going to start working on that and get that kind of arranged and organized. And if you're in the Atlanta area, we may even start to arrange a monthly seminar program or training program or something like that. Because there are places that I can meet up now. It's not the best place in the world, not the most centralized, but it could work. So y'all have a great day. Enjoy yourself. I appreciate you guys being on here. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. And now I'm going to go through the process of trying to shut these things off. And that's always a challenge.